For Maybank, analysts say that this would boost the investment banking side, and especially if they take over the brokerage arm in the securities business. Maybank, as you know, has already said that they want to be, this is part of the strategy, to be a leader, and they're already a leader in Malaysia, but this is big for them regionally. Recall that they bought Kim Eng Securities here in Singapore. If they get this deal, this would make Maybank the largest bank in Southeast Asia, so they would surpass DBS as well. Let's just talk about what's next. Well, obviously there are shareholders that they have to buy the stake from. Employees Provident Fund, which is EPF, holds about a 45% stake in RHB. They've already talked about selling part of that stake down. And Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, they've already been evaluating bidders for its 25 stake in RHB, Christine. So that's where it stands right now. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about this.
I know, Sejal, we're very pleased, Sejal, to have in the hot seat with us today. We're very pleased to have the CEO and, of course, the president of Maybank with us right now, Dr. Sri Abdul Wahid Omar. Dr. Sri, thank you very much for being with us here today. You just heard what Sejal was talking about. A takeover of RHB would allow you to overtake DBS to become the biggest bank in Southeast Asia. Sounds like it's a deal too good for you to pass up right now.
Well, for us, if we look at the bigger picture, three perspectives. I think firstly, this transaction will facilitate domestic consolidation of banks, very much something that Bank Negara is pursuing as well. Secondly, it will enable us to fulfill our aspirations in terms of being a regional financial services leader, strengthening our home base, as well as expanding into the other parts of the region. RHB comes with it a presence in Thailand and additional 7 branches in Singapore. And third, which is most important, we'll be looking at the shareholder value creation or enhancement. And I'm not just talking about the shareholders of Maybank, but also the shareholders of RHB as well.
No price tag has been mentioned so far. You're obviously fighting with CNBC for the deal. How aggressive do you want to be without being accused of overpaying for the group?
Well, we will do something if it makes sense for all stakeholders. For us, this is still early days. We're only at Gate 3, in the sense that Gate 1 was when we sought internal approval. Gate 2 is when we got the Bank Negara nod to commence negotiation, and we're now about to start discussions with the principal shareholders.
Anyone working in Malaysia would tell you or would know that there are a lot of politics surrounding this sort of thing. CNBC, your biggest rival bid, of course, is owned by Hazana, which is a state-owned investment company. This deal also involves EPF, the state investment fund, trying to sell down its stake as well. Can you overcome the politics that's going on behind the scenes to create a win-win situation for yourself here? Is it going to be a big challenge, you think?
I don't think there's any politics in it. This is purely commercially driven transaction that will bring value to all parties, whether it's actually with CNBC or Maybank.
What potentially would the RHB deal give you?
Well, I mentioned about the shareholder value creation, which we believe...
Specifically on the investment banking side?
No, across the board. My second perspective was about the domestic leadership. It was further strengthen our leadership across all segments in Malaysia. The second part is about the regional presence that will complete our presence in the Southeast Asian region with a presence in Thailand and additional branches in Singapore. Again, at the end of the day, it must be about value to the shareholders.
Mohammed, let me throw it to you. I mean, you were nodding silently as Dr. Sri was going on. I mean, do you like this bank consolidation story you're hearing over in Malaysia? Do you have any questions for Dr. Sri?
Well, I think the question that always strikes me whenever you get a transaction like this is whether you're really going to be able to create the value, especially when across Asia generally there is always a fear that banking transactions happen near the top of a cycle, and especially when every time I've been to Malaysia, it seems like money is being thrown at consumers to go out and buy even more property and more risky assets. Are you concerned about doing a transaction, A, which, as Christina suggested, may be too expensive, and B, which may actually mark near or at the top of the cycle?
Well, I think firstly, the banking system in Malaysia is strong and is resilient. And I think bankers in Malaysia have been very responsible in terms of growing its loan books, not to the extent where it gets very toppish, if you like. Secondly, when it comes to undertaking transactions, we have had experience where we've been very disciplined about the transactions that we have undertaken. So, for example, the most recent one in respect of Kim Eng, so we believe that's something that was very well received by the market, and obviously it makes sense for us, and we will certainly be very disciplined in approaching this transaction as well.
Dr. Shea, to put you on the spot, how confident are you think of getting the deal done with RHB? How confident are you?
Again, as I mentioned, these are early days. We are into step 3, and basically what we want to do is to make sure that we come up with a compelling proposition. At the end of the day, it takes two to tango, and as much as we are keen, I think on the other side, we also have to evaluate the options for them.
Sejal, jump on in.
I know Maybank has expressed interest in expanding in Thailand. Is that still on the cards, given that this deal's come up?
Well, we currently have presence via the largest broker in Thailand through Kim Eng. Kim Eng has got very strong retail franchise with 41 branches, and obviously any commercial banking presence will complement our presence via Kim Eng very, very well.
So any names in Thailand you eye? I hate to put you on the spot, sir, but you know.
I think we have to take it one step at a time.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll leave it there for now, Dr. Sri. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on the
you.
show to talk to us on a first on CNBC interview.